on Instagram as well when they can see us. And kick things off. And it's a Saturday, so hopefully, well, for some of you guys, it's still a Saturday. For some people, mashallah, you guys are already in Sunday, but it's still a weekend day. So I'm hoping that you guys will be able to be more relaxed, not have the kind of the pressures and the responsibilities of the day to day, inshallah, and get to have this as kind of your boost during the weekend as well. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I do have to apologize as we're getting started. Unfortunately, I am the lighting is a bit deceiving, but I am a little bit under the weather today. So unfortunately, we'll keep this session, inshallah, tight. We'll make it, well, it'll be really fun, very engaging, inshallah, with a brand new speaker. But unfortunately, we won't be able to do the Kahoot at the end of the session. I'm going to be like shutting off my camera and lying down as soon as we finish. So please forgive me. Inshallah, we'll make sure the Kahoot is done by on Monday, inshallah, when it'll be done at the end of the session. Then barakallah feek. Ameen, ameen, ameen. I will, you know what? I will ask you for your du'as because I'm a little scared. We have a very long webinar and a very long couple of sessions tomorrow, inshallah. So inshallah khair. It's just that Ramadan exhaustion that we all get. I know you guys have all experienced it in your own ways, in your own trying to juggle your routines and your ibadah and everything. May Allah reward you all, make it heavy in your scale of deeds. And I just hope inshallah we can rally and find that last bit of energy to get us through the last 10 nights. Ameen, ameen. All right, with that, it is another exciting session. I know I seem like it's kind of redundant because I am excited for every session. I am excited for every topic, but that is the testament to, mashallah, the incredible work that Sheikh Sulaiman Hani does with these session topics, with the incredible work that the scheduling team does in bringing all these amazing instructors, the Al-Maghrib instructors, some of our guest instructors, that it's just banger after banger after banger. It's hard not to be excited about them, subhanAllah. So alhamdulillah, this is going to be a newer to me speaker, obviously not new to the scene. So I can't wait for you guys to get a chance to be exposed to him for the first time as well. If you guys haven't benefited before from Ustad Abdul Malik Merchant, inshallah, this will be your first time. Let us know what you think, because I've heard amazing things, and I always love to be like, to explore new speakers and to benefit from them. So that's one of the really cool things about the Ramadan 360 community and the Al Maghrib community at large is not only are we, alhamdulillah, we have such a large breadth of instructors. We have, I think, I always lose count. I think it's like 24 to 30 instructors now, mashallah, that teach various courses and experiences with Al-Maghrib online, in person, around the world. I think that's one of the largest instructor bodies that there is in any Islamic Western institution. But we also have, alhamdulillah, the honor of being in such an amazing space where there's incredible personalities we get to collaborate with from other organizations, some of which that were inspired by us, personalities that, alhamdulillah, came in through the path that Al-Maghrib paved and who've done incredible work in their own rights as well. So it's such a treat. Yes, it's my first as well. So I'm very excited. With that, the topic, as I was mentioning, is a really, really essential one, especially I think with the easy fitna that we unfortunately get involved with in this very connected online community as well, in the online ummah. And it's the topic of peacemakers in the Quran healing community conflict, which is going to be a phenomenal one, inshallah, I'm very sure. Just a couple of quick, reminders, inshallah, for you all. I know many of you guys probably memorized them, so you can say them in your head as I'm saying them as well. But time change tomorrow, different time for the sessions for everyone coming in North America, everyone else, same time for you guys. We have the dua that changes everything webinar tomorrow, which is very exciting, inshallah. It's going to be like, honestly, I almost feel like these webinars, they kind of give me that feeling of like a really good khutbah, but condensed, and like a dozen of them, because you're getting kind of the best and the most energetic and the most impactful things that the speakers want to tell you within a short time frame, so that it helps with our shorter attention spans, and B, it allows us to just really feel rejuvenated, really feel connected, really max out our inspiration before we go into, especially the timing is perfect before we go into the last 10 nights, and we need that extra boost. Sorry, apologies. We'll come to, but I'm in just a second. We need that extra boost, and we need that inspiration to get us through, inshallah, and to keep the energy strong. I'm very proud of many of you. I know it's harder on the weekends. We have less people who are often not able to make it on the weekends, but I'm really proud of those of you who are always consistent, mashallah, and who have been making it 18 days in a row for Ramadan 360. So pat yourselves on the back. May Allah accept from all of you all, and inshallah, let's end the month strong. Reminder, as always, please do make sure that you are supporting the amazing folks that make Ramadan 360 possible year after year. This year, we're partnered in the US with Spotlight Humanity. That's spotlightcharity.org/al-maghrib-360. And of course, National Zakah Foundation in my home country of Canada. NZF Canada is at mzfcanada.com/Ramadan. So please do continue to support them generously. And of course, continue to support the amazing work that Al Maghrib does to be able to bring this programming and all the amazing programming that we have throughout the year, benefiting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of students now, alhamdulillah. With that, I hope that we're sufficiently warmed up, inshallah, for day number 18, and we're ready for this incredible topic, inshallah, as well. We have a surprise for you all, alhamdulillah. We have a brand new reciter. So we have Qari Adam Munshi, who's joined us, inshallah, to kick off our recitation for this weekend. And it's always a treat, alhamdulillah, to hear a different voice and to feel connected to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the recitation of it. So we're very excited for that, inshallah. I'm going to pass the mic to Qari Adam Munshi to kick things off. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, I'll be sharing a few verses from Surah Ghafir. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذين كفروا ينادون لمقت الله أكبر من مقتكم أنفسكم إذ تدعون إلى الإيمان فتكفرون. قالوا ربنا أمتنا اثنتين وأحييتنا اثنتين فاعترفنا بذنوبنا فهل إلى خروج من سبيل. ذلكم بأنه إذا دعي الله وحده كفرتم وإن يشرك به تؤمنوا فالحكم لله العلي الكبير. هو الذي يريكم آياته وينزل لكم من السماء رزقا وما يتذكر إلا من ينيب. فادعوا الله مخلصين له الدين ولو كره الكافرون. رفيع الدرجات ذو العرش يلقي الروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده لينذر يوم التلاق يوم هم بارزون لا يخفى على الله منهم شيء. لمن الملك اليوم لله الواحد القهار. اليوم تجزى كل نفس بما كسبت لا ظلم اليوم إن الله سريع الحساب. وأنذرهم يوم الآزفة إذ القلوب لدى الحناجر كاظمين ما للظالمين من حميم ولا شفيع يطاع. يعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. والله يقضي بالحق والذين يدعون من دونه لا يقضون بشيء إن السميع البصير. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakumullah khair, Qari Adam. That was Qari Adam Munshi coming in for the first time, reciting for us at Ramadan 360. Allahu Akbar. That was truly a gift, subhanAllah, to the community. I have no words. Allahu Akbar. So we will definitely find his details, inshallah, so that we can share them with you also if you want to follow the recitation. Inshallah, we'll have another treat of having him back with us tomorrow for day number 19 as well. So don't miss that, inshallah. Make sure you join early so you don't miss the recitation portion. That was phenomenal. This has been like the best, alhamdulillah, addition to the programming this year. And I can't wait to continue to listen to this recitation. Barakallah feek. Wow, that was alhamdulillah the highlight of my day so far. It's going to be hard to beat that for the rest of the session, inshallah. But khair, we'll do our very best. With that, we're going to be joined on screen for our actual Ramadan 360 portion by Imam Abdul Malik Merchant. And I'm very excited for those who are just getting exposed to him for the very first time and getting a chance to benefit from him for the first time. We have to do the honors, inshallah, and share a little bit more about him. So Imam Abdul Malik Merchant holds an undergraduate degree in Islamic Studies from Qura University in Mecca and a Master of Theological Studies from Boston University School of Theology with a concentration in practical theology. After nearly a decade abroad, he's returned to Boston in 2016, to serve in spiritual care and counseling at New England's largest mosque, later extending his service as the Muslim chaplain at Tufts University and the Essex County Sheriff's Department. Currently, he serves as the program director for a nationwide Imam Fellowship at Hearts Together Foundation, and he's resident scholar at McLean Islamic Center, while also serving at the board of the Muslim Wellness Foundation. So mashallah, he has a lot of barakah in his time. That was a mouthful. Allahumma barik. It's a great honor to have him, I think for the first time, unless my memory escapes me, for Ramadan 360. So we're very excited, inshallah, to benefit in the little time that we have with him, inshallah. I don't want to take too much more of it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Imam Abdul Malik, how are you doing today? Oh, I don't know if you're able to unmute. Please don't tell me. Too many rookie mistakes this year. Sorry. Bismillah. Round two.
Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam. Jazakumullah khair for having me. Alhamdulillah, it's an honor. MashaAllah.
Barakallah feek. This community is such a warm and such an amazing space, inshallah. We hope this is not the only time or this is just the first time, inshallah, you're with us, but we are very honored by your presence, inshallah. We can't wait to jump into the talk. So, bismillah, I will pass the mic to you. The floor is yours.
Jazakumullah khair. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني فقولي صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. Before we start, it's an incredible honor to be with you all this afternoon. Subhanallah, when the founder of Al-Maghrib, Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, when he first graduated from University of Medina, I was of his first class of students. And I don't mean like Al-Maghrib's first class. I mean his first class of students at the elementary school. He taught me how to read Quran, mashallah. And I remember when he was coming up with the concept of Al-Maghrib, he showed me in like the 5th or 6th grade the mock-ups of what Al-Maghrib was going to look like and the style and the fonts, and he was going through all of those things. So Allah yarhamu, rahmatu wasi'a, may Allah have mercy on him. Subhanallah, he played a very important, pivotal role in my life, and I never forget. So when, also Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Suleiman Hani, when he reached out, was like, would you want to do this? I was like, of course. Like, it's an honor to be on a platform that Sheikh Muhammad Sharif established, and inshallah, it's all in his scale of good deeds, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. The topic that I've been blessed to have today is speaking about one that I don't think we often think about enough, and that's peacemaking in the Quran, healing community conflict. The reality is, if we're being very, very honest with ourselves, we've all experienced some sort of difficulty or some sort of conflict in our lives, be it on a communal level or on a local level or on our own personal social levels with our families and whatnot. And when we're thinking about how it is that we're going to negotiate those things, there are a few things that we have to take into consideration. And for our conversation today, inshallah, I'd like to use Harun, the brother of Musa alayhi salam, as the sort of vignette or the story that allows us to travel and traverse to think about how do we make peace, but also equally important, how do we heal community conflict? First and foremost, we have to understand that we have a moral imperative. Peace is not optional. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells in the Quran in many different times فأصلحوا بينهما بالعدل والقسط. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنَّ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا وَمِنَ المؤمنين إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم واتقوا الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions these different times, speaking about islah, sulh, making reconciliation and finding that peace and that harmony in our communities is a moral obligation for us. And that they're always couched between taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or with a command to be just and to be upright, and how it is that we're using and or trying to use the privilege Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with in a way that will bring that peace and that harmony. That the goal of what it is that we're trying to do, the harmony is not so that Abdul Malik feels good or that I get what I want. The goal is that we're helping everyone find taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that may mean that sometimes we're not going to get what we want. We're going to be a little bit upset, a little bit frustrated, and that's also very, very fine. You know, Harun alayhi salam was the brother of Musa alayhi salam, and some of my teachers have said that the dua of Musa was the best dua a brother has ever made for his brother. And that is that Musa alayhi salam said, اجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشد به أزري وأشركه في أمري. Musa alayhi salam, he said, appoint for me a minister from my family, Harun, my brother. He will strengthen he will strengthen through my back and let him share my task. That Musa alayhi salam prayed that as he's engaging in this work of prophethood and being a messenger and calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Harun, his brother, would be a means to help him on that journey, would be someone who allows him. And so Harun now gets elevated to the rank of being a prophet alongside of his brother. But the point is not so that Musa alayhi salam can, ostracate or he can let go of some of his responsibility. The point in Harun, or the answer to dua of Musa alayhi salam, is so that Harun can support his brother. And I think that we have to recognize that this is the lived reality of many of us, that when we're trying and thinking about making peace or sulh in a community, we have to realize that we can't do it alone. We need people with us that are going to help support us in our affairs. They're going to make sure that we're able to do this in a way that will actually bring about the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That it's not done, and we also need to be intentional with that. The dua of Musa alayhi salam wasn't just like, oh, anybody. It was, no, Harun, my brother, specifically, very pointedly, oh Allah, make Harun the brother. And so when we're thinking about stopping and treating and dealing with fractures in community, it's not something that we can outsource. We can't say, oh, this is someone else's responsibility, or this is something. We should exhaust ourselves to the best of our ability to find people that are going to support us in this work, in fulfilling this moral obligation. But also we have to remember that it's only through and by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we're able to do this. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's no might, no power except by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is the first point that I want to just establish, that trying to have peace in our communities is not something that is done haphazard. It's not something that we should take in vain or take lightly. It should be something that all of us are striving to do, regardless of where we are in our community. If you're in a place of leadership, then that's going to look different than someone who is just a congregant who's attending the masjid or part of an organization or whatever it may be. But that doesn't mean how we show up in community. That doesn't mean that how it is that our intention as we're engaging it isn't trying to earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't trying to be like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the best of creation, was rahmat lil alameen, a mercy to all of mankind. And so this has to be the point in which we're starting our journey to think about healing community problems. This is the place that we're thinking about that. One, it's a moral obligation to everyone, but we also need suhbah salihah, righteous companionship, the people that are going to help me in this. But I think the next point that we need to take into consideration, a deeper layer, is to recognize that healing community conflict is not for the faint-hearted, that it may come at a cost. Harun alayhi salam, when Musa goes up into Mount Sinai and is receiving the 10 commandments, and then Harun is left with the people, the Israelites, Ben Israel, they start engaging and doing a bunch of different things that are against the Sharia of their time and our time. They have now created a calf that they're worshiping and they're using that as an idol. And so when Musa alayhi salam comes back down from Mount Sinai and he sees what's going on, he gets angry. He takes the time, and we know that Musa alayhi salam, may Allah, Musa had a fiery spirit, we'll say. So he takes the tablet, he throws them down, and he grabs his brother Harun by the beard. And like, imagine the scene. Like, I'm a very visual person, so I'm imagining the scene. Musa comes back from the journey. He's got the hive. He's got the 10 Commandments. He was in conversation with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. He wants to now engage in this work of community rectification, because that's what the prophets and messengers are doing, right? And so he comes down, and now they've deviated. They've gone completely. They've lost the plot. And so Harun is with them. And Musa's the one who made him the wazir. He's given him this responsibility. And so he comes back down and is angry. Rightfully so, right? And so he's like, he grabs Harun by his beard. And Harun alayhi salam, he then responds, "La ta'khudh bi lihyati wa la bi ra'si." Don't grab me by my beard or my head. He's now telling them that, they almost tried to kill me. These people were oppressing me. And so don't let them be happy over what that has happened. إن قوم استضعفوني وكادوا يقتلونني ولا تشمل بالأعداء. Don't allow them to be victorious. This is the lived reality of people that are ever given any form of responsibility, amana, in trying to establish community and trying to help others. That it doesn't come easily, and that there will be costs. There will be challenges and sacrifices that are going to have to be made. As community members, and regardless of how it is that we find ourselves in the community, we have to figure out what are the boundaries that we're going to set for ourselves to ensure that we are taking care of our responsibilities and we're not being lost in the work. This is a common phenomenon with whether it be activists or volunteers or Ummah or idarat, like people engaged in leadership in a community. It becomes the entire thing that everyone is focused on. And unfortunately, as we're engaging in this, we can forget about the things, the awlawiyat, the things that are of more importance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually going to ask us about first. Our families, our health, our well-being, etc. And so there's a moral courage that's required when we're engaging in this work. There's a responsibility that we recognize that when challenges come, we can't skirt away from them, we can't run from them. But at the same time, there's a lived reality that there will be challenges, and we have to figure out to what extent we're going to be willing to sacrifice. I was thinking about one of my teachers recently, subhanAllah. He grew up in a time, in a different country, in a very different social reality, where his father could leave him with mashayikh, could leave him with aunties and uncles and other people that would help nurture and raise him. Unfortunately, particularly in the West, we no longer have that reality, that the community will help take care of the gaps and fill the holes that we don't have. And if you do thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, where I can't leave my children or leave work or my parental responsibility and think that everyone else is going to support that. And so I think when we're thinking about having moral courage, subhanAllah, one of my mentors told me a part of moral courage is for you prioritizing your children when they need to be prioritized and understanding when those boundaries need to be drawn. And so it's the courage doesn't happen at the expense of our deeper personal obligations and responsibilities. But I also think that when the next layer, if we're thinking about, okay, that there's a moral obligation and a moral courage, we also need to have intelligence in how it is that we're going to strive to bring about sulh and rectification in our communities. When Musa alayhi salam returns down from the mountain and he finds Harun watching over his people and he grabs him by his beard, how does Harun alayhi salam respond? How does Harun alayhi salam speak to, how does he speak to his brother Musa alayhi salam when thinking about this situation? He responds that, "Oh, son of my mother, He responds to him with words of endearment. And we see this time and time again with the prophets, and how it is that they spoke to others when they're conflicted with problems. Ya qawmi, ya abati, oh my people, oh my father. And so how it is that we're engaging in this work, in trying to help our communities, also has to require a level of calculation and thoughtfulness. What is the greater maslahah, the greater good, by me responding or not responding in this particular moment? How can I be thoughtful, intentional about my engagement, but also about how it is that I speak to people and show up with people to ensure that there's a larger good that happens? That may mean that sometimes I will have to take an L. I'll have to take a back seat. That my personal wants will not be the things that actually get put forward. It may mean that this door is closing for me and I have to find a new way or new place to serve. But again, we're trying to ensure that the community stays together. The community is preserved. And I can't forget that that is the intention behind what it is that I'm doing. It's not about Abdul Malik. It's not about me as someone who's serving. It's about struggling and striving to ensure that what is going to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is following the sunnah of the Habib alayhi the Prophet sallallahu is going to actually come forward. And that has to be the larger priority. And as my teachers have always told me, if there is at any moment where I am now becoming an impediment, I'm becoming a harm for the community, I then need to step back. I then need to recuse myself from that work, because one person not getting what they want is far better than multiple people being harmed by these things. And so we have to, this intelligence is not only in how it is that we speak, but also in how we act, how it is that we engage, how it is that we're interacting with people, and making sure that we understand how to discern the greater maslahah and mafsada, the greater need of the moment. Harun alayhi salam was not confused or was not misinformed. He didn't think that people engaging in shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was a priority. But saving his life when his people are pressing him, saving his life when they're trying to kill him, is definitely of the masalih of the deen, of the larger principles of the deen that he has to try to make sure that he can observe. And so we have to ask ourselves, is it possible that as a peacemaker, as someone who's trying to ensure goodness in the community, that I'm not overstaying what it is that I need to do? I need to make sure that how it is that I'm engaging is wise, but how it is and where it is I put myself is done in a way that's going to bring about the largest amount of khair, the largest amount of goodness with the community. Okay, so we talked about moral courage. We then talked about, moral obligation, moral courage, then a level of intelligence, moral intelligence that we need to have. And we sort of already addressed it a little bit, but there's also the disposition of someone who's going to bring about sulh. You know, when I think about our religious lives, I think a lot of times we like to secularize them and separate them from our spiritual, we separate our religious life from our worldly life. And those two, with the right intentions, the Prophet ﷺ told us, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, indeed actions are based on their intentions. With the right intention, there is no separation between church and state or deen and dunya. All of it becomes an opportunity to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so if we're thinking about that all of this is an opportunity to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we can also take examples from our non-religious lives, our worldly lives, to understand our religious life a little bit better. Excuse me. If I'm at work and the people that I report to or that I'm responsible of, am I more likely to get them to follow? Am I more likely to get them to understand the work that we're doing? If I'm honest and transparent and communicate well and loving and merciful in how it is that I deal with them? Or am I more likely to get a positive response if I'm rude, curt, I don't communicate well, I don't help them understand the mission, vision, values, etc.? Excuse me. I think it's quite obvious that the first is going to yield better results. And this is what, when we're thinking about our disposition, how it is that we're going to help imbue and put into the hearts of people the larger goal that we're trying to achieve. I'll never forget, subhanAllah, I saw one of my teachers, he was really tired one time. And he was leaving the musalla, going to his office, and a young boy, maybe 7 or 8, went to give him salam. And the sheikh was like really just like tunnel vision, trying to beeline it to his office. He just got back from travels, a lot going on. So he didn't even recognize the young boy. And then subhanAllah, before anyone could even bring it to his attention, a light bulb went off. Something clicked. And he went back and he stooped down to the boy's level and he greeted him with a smile and he spoke with him kindly. How is that boy ever going to forget the Imam of the Masjid, the Sheikh who's been here for 30 years, was that kind in how he dealt with me? That establishes a level of trust, that establishes a level of tenderness through the Sheikh's disposition that now will help build and shape what it is that we're trying to do. And so I think when we're thinking about bringing community rectification and sulh, we're thinking about healing the problems that are in our community. We can't let the challenges ever make us compromise our values, compromise the principles and the ethics that our parents have taught us and raised us to be, or compromise the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and how it was that he treated other people. We have to make sure that we understand that this is not about me or about you. This is about trying to help everyone find that which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لَنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the Prophet Muhammad that it's a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you were gentle with them. Because if you were harsh-hearted with them or difficult with them, then they would have dispersed from around you. They would have left from around you. And so we see in the Prophet ﷺ's gentleness and how it is that this servant leadership, we can call it, this gentle, kind disposition is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And contrary to how we think about it oftentimes, it's not a weakness, it's a strength. It's our ability to have emotional intelligence, to have awareness of ourselves, of the things that are harming me, making me feel, but then still have decorum, have adab, to act in a way that's going to help. Wallahi, we could talk about this forever. But I think these sort of 4 main things are things that we should consider when we're thinking about how it is that we can deal or take the story of Musa alayhi salam or Harun alayhi salam from the Quran to deal with challenges. And we recognize that a part of the human condition is that, and this is not just for Muslims, it's humans. We are going to have difficulties and challenges. The Prophet ﷺ went through tremendous challenges after the hijrah, which we would think there's like, khalas, mashallah, 30 years in Mecca, he makes hijrah to Medina, now he's going to just sit back and put his legs up. Every single year, battles, loss of life, death of children, loss of loved ones. Every single year, there's a major calamity that he has to endure, alayhi salatu wasalam. But we never find a single time that he treated someone wrongly, or that his personal difficulties ever reflected in how it is that he fulfilled the obligation and the mission. And so that's not to say that we're always going to be perfect or we're going to be without problems or challenges. But that is to say that we have an example in the Prophet ﷺ, that it's a mercy, being merciful, that challenges are going to come and we need to stay the course as long as we can in a way that's not going to compromise our own personal obligations and needs. Secondly, that not only is it a moral obligation that we already sort of intertwine them, that it is going to require courage. It's going to require that we are willing to do anything worth anything of value. You want to start a unicorn company. You want to establish a family. It's going to require courage. It's going to require sacrifice. And it's going to require forbearance. Initially getting started, you're going to have to be incredibly courageous. You're going to have to sacrifice some of the things that you want in order to get something in return. But it's also going to require that we forbear in the moment so that we can get there. The third thing is that we have to have a little bit of intelligence in how it is that we prioritize this sort of fiqh al-awlawiyat. We need to understand what are higher priorities in the moment. Can I take an L here? Can I sacrifice here to yield gains here? Not compromising my values, but compromising some of these things that allow for a deeper connection. And then lastly, we have to make sure that we have adab, we have tenderness, we have this gentleness and how it is that we are trying to engage with others in society. Wallahi, this is something that, subhanAllah, I'm speaking to myself before anyone else, that we're always going to fall short. We're going to make mistakes. But if the goal is truly helping others find taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the goal is truly helping others get close to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we should be willing to understand these principles that we're thinking about, be willing to recognize that despite our own shortcomings, it may not be about me. And I think something that's important is that we understand that it's not about quitting. If we come to a roadblock, we come to a door that is closed, we don't need to quit, but we can pivot. Maybe this opportunity is no longer one that is fruitful or possible for you. We may need to pivot into one that is more beneficial, more fruitful for you and your circumstance in life. There's no problem with that. But how it is that we do those pivots, how it is that we engage in society, and how it is that we engage with the mission that we're trying to fulfill has to be done thoughtfully, should be done wisely, it should be done with courage, but also done with a bit of adab in how it is that we engage. We don't want to burn bridges as it is that we're shifting and thinking about dealing with these community problems. And if someone else, unfortunately, doesn't uphold themselves in a wise way, they don't engage mercifully, or they don't hold the same principles that perhaps you hold, that shouldn't make you or I change how it is that we interact. That shouldn't make us sacrifice the deeper principles that we're trying to do, because maybe that door's closed and maybe there's no longer opportunity for me. But if I tried my absolute best to be honorable, I tried my absolute best to fulfill the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then inshallah I'll be rewarded for my effort. And in closing, we know that Nuh alayhi salam was trying to engage in healing a community. This was the job of all the prophets and messengers were. He was trying to engage in doing this work for 950 years. And even still, his own family, subhanAllah, you can imagine 950 years, and then your own son is like, no, I'm going to do something else. Like, subhanAllah, we won't always be successful. It's not think of any of the stories of the prophets. Ayub, Nuh, Ibrahim, Al-Habib, the Prophet had to migrate. He left Mecca. He left where he was born and raised to go to a place that was foreign from him. So, it's okay. We're not perfect. But what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concerned with is our sincerity, not what we necessarily produce, not being perfect, but merely trying our best. And if we try our best, regardless of the outcomes, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we are successful. But we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us sincerity, to give us courage, to give us intelligence and adab in how it is that we engage with our communities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring peace and justice to everyone across the world, in Gaza, in Sudan, our brothers and sisters in Iran, the brother in East Turkmenistan, the Uyghur brothers and sisters, wherever anyone may be going through difficulties or hardships. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring healing and peace, and allow us to recognize that, subhanAllah, wherever we are across the world, we're blessed to communicate through the internet. And objectively, our situation is very safe. I'm not worried of someone doing anything to me right now. That's a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we weren't in utero, in the wombs of our mothers, being like, do I want to look like this or be over there? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gave us these circumstances, so let's use them wisely. Let's use them thoughtfully. And how it is that, there's so much more than the circumstances that we are bogged down with. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make things easy for us, but most importantly, that we never lose hope in Him. regardless of what things may seem. We know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the determiner of all things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just, and regardless of what we see in the world, justice will happen in this life or the next. But we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us, we never lose hope in Him. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Jazakumullah khair. Ma'afu minkum.
Barakallah feek, Imam Abdul Malik. Alhamdulillah, I didn't undersell you or oversell you. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. That was an incredible session. And I think it's a lot of what we need to hear right now as a community. We're trying to like wrestle with just everything that's happening around the world and even just within the Ummah. So Jazakumullah khair. I feel like I have to rewatch this entire session as soon as it ends and take my proper notes. But Barakallah feek, that was a very clear and firm presentation. I know we have a slightly different halftime kind of thing that we do normally in the Ramadan 360, but I want to be mindful of your time. We have some questions that have come in. So we'll jump straight to Q&A. We'll try to take a couple of questions and then inshallah we'll wrap up. So the first question that I have submitted is, and mashallah, great question so far, is how should we navigate if our family seeks to leave the community after repeated conflict instead of mending the bond to the people?
You know, mashallah, that is a phenomenal question. The reality is that we all have breaking points. We all have our own capacity. Some people are going to be lifers. They're going to, die serving the community. And subhanAllah, if we're going to be very general here, that's oftentimes our elders. They will go through 3, 4 different administrative changes. They'll see the young people come and go, and they're in the front row, and they're not complaining, and they're going to keep doing what it is they do. And I think there's merit to that. And if our family is tired, whatever the case may have been, that's also fine. We have to determine for us where our boundaries are, what limit that we can hold, what it is that we're going to be willing to do. Also, is my presence a larger detriment to the community than not? Because if I'm looking for sulh, I'm looking for the community's right, then maybe I need to recuse myself. Maybe I need to move back from that because it's no longer good. But I think we have to be empathic with our families, understand that they may have different experiences, they may have different things, and recognize where it is and how it is that we're going to engage. And if you, perhaps reading too much into this, if you're a young person who perhaps doesn't have the agency to stay in the community or the finances to stay in the, that's also fine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows your intentions. He knows that you tried so much to be in that circumstance, but beyond your means, your family said, no, we're going to move to somewhere else. Khair barakah, that's okay. And so it's never gone without reward, inshallah.
Beautiful. Jazakumullah khair for that powerful response. The second question that I had submitted was, if there's a person who is harming the community but does not want to leave their position, how do we address this issue?
SubhanAllah, these are like perennial things across the world. We have to remember that we have very little control over the world, right? Like objectively, we have very little control over the circumstances that we're in. We have very limited control over our own selves, let alone our families, let alone the community. Our job is to try our best. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't burden us with more than we can bear. Do your best. Seek nasiha from elders and wise people and scholars. Perhaps it's about the message and not the messenger. So maybe you're not the one to do that. So you have someone else, you try to get someone else to intervene. Maybe you just pray on it. But at a certain point, khalas, we can't. There's very little control that we have over those circumstances. So that's when we go to the most powerful thing that we should have actually been doing from the beginning is dua. We make dua that justice happens. We make dua that goodness happens. Because I think, I'll close with this, a lot of times that we can think our perspective is the right perspective. We can think that our perspective is the one that should happen. And perhaps it could be. Perhaps part of what we're seeing is true. But in the grand scheme of things, maybe this thing needs to happen so that more khair comes, that more goodness comes about that we could have never imagined. So we do our best and we try to make sure that we have adab and we're good in how it is that we go about it. If you can't do it, then and you're not in a position, I would close this. Volunteer. Get on the board. Put money behind it, like really campaign, be active in your community to bring that change, but with adab, with wisdom, with thoughtfulness, because you don't want to destroy the community because you have a perspective that may happen. And wallahi, alhamdulillah, I've been blessed to serve in like 4 different communities at this point. Administrations come and go, imams come and go. The community are the ones who are going to be there. So don't give up just because something that you don't like happens, and don't necessarily go start another one. Because that's another thing we do. We don't like something's happening. I'm going to open a masjid 5 minutes down the road, and we're going to be our own new niche masjid because we're better than that masjid. Now we've diversified the community's finances, the talents. We're a minority amongst minorities, particularly here in the West, right? And so be patient. You know, it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to feel pain. But that doesn't mean that with the pain that we're feeling, we need to sacrifice our values and we need to sacrifice the larger mission that we're trying to do, which is to help everyone find taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Beautiful. Jazakumullah khair. And I think that's a great note to end on, inshallah. Barakallah feek for blessing us with some time today. Alhamdulillah, on your weekend day. I know there's a lot happening these last few days before the last 10 days kick off of the month. So may Allah put barakah on your time continuously. We look forward to benefiting from you, inshallah, once again.
Jazakumullah khair. I'm at your service and anyone's service. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Jazakumullah khair for hosting. You've been a gracious host, mashallah. And hopefully I can be of service soon, inshallah.
Absolutely. Barakallah feek. For now, take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh.
That was Imam Abdul Malik Merchant for day number 18 of Ramadan 360, subhanAllah, on a phenomenal topic, peacemakers in the Quran, healing community conflict. I feel like someone was just saying in the chat, it's like every session gets better than the last, subhanAllah. I feel like we're just ramping up for the last 10 nights. So that was incredible. I hope those who came later, I know some people missed the beginning of it. Inshallah, you guys can catch the rest of it in the recordings. For the recording crowd that is currently watching after the fact, I'm glad that you guys are able to catch it. Inshallah, we see you live once again soon. It's going to be really, honestly, it's going to be, before it was a marathon, now it's going to be a sprint until the end of the month. So I want to encourage you all to refuel, to build up your energy resources, to recommit, to take the rest that you need, inshallah, in the next little bit, and then to come in strong. Tomorrow is going to be our final marathon, which is going to be our beautiful webinar on dua that changes everything at 1 p.m. EST. Again, set your alarms accordingly because there is a time change tonight. That was an amazing talk. And I'll be honest, something really struck me, and something that Imam Abdul Malik was sharing from the very beginning of the session about his connection to Sheikh Muhammad al-Sharif, rahimahullah, and I didn't even know this story. And I kept reflecting on this specific topic of peacemakers and people who can heal the community and help the community. And, a lot of times we're thinking big picture. We're thinking all these big conflicts that we have in the world, all the things that are unresolved, all the stuff that's happening on the internet. But I think we've been emphasizing in this topic with the topic of family and community that the biggest influence that you all have is at home. At home and in your close relationships, your friends, and the people that you have impact, that trust and love you. And don't underestimate that impact. All of us have someone that looks up to just us. Whether you're a teenager, there's someone a few years younger than you who thinks you're like, you're everything, subhanAllah. So I was just reflecting on my own experience. I had a teacher in Islamic school who introduced me to Al-Maghrib when I was a rebellious teenager once upon a time. And I think about, subhanAllah, and in her mind, I don't know, what her perception is, but she's a giant in my mind, subhanAllah. And she just gave me some time, gave me some energy, gave me some resources, answered some questions. So you don't know who you are, like, in someone else's life, what kind of space and what kind of impact that you hold. So please do reflect on that. Make sure that you're just not taking the inspiration from these sessions. You're actually taking that into action, and you're trying to make small, tangible efforts every single day to do better and to be better. And please do support, mashallah, Al-Maghrib's work, in the sense that, subhanAllah, it humbles me to constantly see how long acting that Al-Maghrib's impact is. That we have one session or one experience or one class that someone attends, one interaction they have with an instructor, and for an entire lifetime, for decades, they get involved in good work. They're remotivated to engage with the community, to take on an impactful role and do so much khair. So it's such a amazing spider web all across the globe. Allahumma barik. So I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying the sessions. Barakallah feek for staying with us for this one. Just a reminder, unfortunately, we had to postpone for my side the Kahoot for today, inshallah, but I will be postponing that until Monday. So we'll see you guys for our Kahoot on the first 15 days of Ramadan 360 on the topic of Quran and family on Monday. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST. Please continue your incredible support of Al-Maghrib's work and all the amazing stuff that's happening. Keep up with the dhikr series. Take care of yourselves. And inshallah, we'll see you guys in a few short hours. For now, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. And assalamu alaikum.